just to get like people going. Like, we all go live separately on our Instagram accounts,
Yeah.
and all have the stream up and be like pointing at like, hey guys, go check this out, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
5 minutes, and then we can get going and just see how it goes from there. Because we have a bunch of subscribers too that we can also fall back on.
All right, I'll go live on my account.
Okay, I'm just gonna refresh until I see a stream, and then I'll go live.
Yep, it's live on my end. It says,
oh, yep, there it is.
Excellent condition. And I have to remember, your name's no longer J.H. Miller. It's Fishing with James.
Oh yeah.
I did change it. I did remember before I started the stream though. So
that's awesome. I was about to say I kind of forgot about that as well.
Yeah.
Like literally, I had to restructure my whole end screen on my YouTube videos, and I had to like build a whole new one.
Oh gosh.
And that was, hold on, let me go.
No, I have it off, kids, because the chat's here. Oh yeah. No, I just turned it off. AirPods connected. Fishing influencer. Hey, we are live on Texas Fishing House's account right now. Link is in the bio. Go follow it. We're live on YouTube. Currently have 2 viewers in here. It looks like Ash10Fishing just joined my live stream. Ashton, you should go live on your Instagram account. I know what you're doing. Crazy. Okay, so Bennett is in here. He says he can't hear James. I actually. Bennett, you're gonna be our eyes on here real quick. Okay, let me. Okay, maybe I have to unmute this one again.
Welcome in, everybody.
Yeah, it says you're still muted. Okay, let me try this. What about now? Bennett, what do you think?
Go check it out, guys. Yeah, podcast is going up here very soon. We're still getting everything set up right now, so it's like the pre-podcast vibe, but it is going live. So make sure to go check it out if you guys want to. Yeah, it's set for a good podcast tonight. So,
Wait, so it
Luke,
says.
thank you for the comment. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was a really cool video featuring this guy right here.
Oh gosh. Oh, I watched that. That was rough.
Yeah, it was tough, man. I went through that footage like countless times to see if I actually got it hitting the tree, and I went frame by frame, and I just could not see it.
Hey, Ashton, can you talk a little bit? I can hear James now.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Dane, I'm feeling much better. So, and yeah, that's why we're doing the podcast
Can you hear me
tonight.
Okay. For you guys in the stream, can you help us out a little bit? I can hear people on my end through YouTube. People in the stream comment. Can you hear anything for everyone?
The drone. Yeah, that was quite tough.
It's showing that you can hear me.
You get over the road? Yes, I did get over old COVID, thankfully.
Yes. Okay. So that went a lot smoother than last podcast. Now that we're
making improvements.
Hey, does this sound any better?
It sounds about the same to me.
Okay, I changed it from my computer to my pods for my microphone, so I just wanted to see if it changed anything.
Actually, it sounds a little better, I think.
Okay, sweet.
So let me get a little story going here.
Yeah, I got my live going. I'm sending everybody over. Make sure to go check out the video on YouTube and subscribe to the channel, guys. Texas Fishing House right there. Make sure to subscribe and go ahead and start leaving some chats in the chat so we can get to them as we go through the podcast.
Yeah. Making a post live. YouTube link in bio.
All right.
All right.
All right, let's see. All right, sweet. I'm live on mine now.
Cool. Yeah, just shoot them over here. We'll do this for another like 5 minutes or something.
Yeah,
Shoot
we
'em
can all
over.
do it
Guys,
for 5 minutes and get
If
everybody
you got
on.
any questions in the YouTubes, I wouldn't assume we won't have too many viewers. We've already got we have 7 viewers actually, but I wouldn't assume that we'll have too many viewers on this stream just because we didn't push it out very hard.
Yeah,
But
because the weather.
Is this a new channel of yours? No, this is actually our podcast
What's up, guys?
channel.
We're actually live right now.
So yeah,
with
it's not like a new
Samuel
channel of mine,
and,
but
James,
Samuel and
Fishing
I
with James
are
on,
running it together.
Texas House Fishing.
But yeah, we're getting ready to go live here, or we
Come
are
check
live
us
right
out.
now.
We're on
But
YouTube right now.
We're getting ready to
Going
actually
live
start
for a podcast.
the podcast very soon.
Sorry, I'll mute myself real quick.
DA Fishing said that he tries to chat. It says error.
Oh, Well, he's posted 2 things already.
Yeah, Dan, you might just like refresh the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dane, that's what it is. Yeah.
It might limit also how many times you comment, like back to back to back. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think YouTube does that.
But nothing's like restricted or anything. I do have it set to where I can monitor like filtered stuff, like where the catch, like if someone puts like a curse word in there or something, like catch it. Okay, DA Fishing,
Gotcha.
I got it. Yep, I saw that. But
all right.
Winners.
I need to remember how to I need to learn how to save these settings like on OBS to make sure everything's working.
There should be like a preset maybe or something like that.
I'm not gonna mess with it now. I'm recording.
Zeb,
and
welcome into the stream. Head over there to the Texas Fishing House. We're getting ready to start the podcast. So that's what the stream is for. Seeing all of you guys over here to the podcast.
Guys, go over to YouTube, Texas House Fishing. We're getting live right now for the podcast.
Yeah.
With Samuel and James. Come check it out.
So for those viewers who are in the stream right now, give us some topics, maybe some things you want to learn. Ashton is a THSBA fisherman. He is currently ranked 3rd in the THSBA Metroplex division. Him and his partner are just dominating right now. And hopefully we can see, of course, hopefully you guys stay in the top 3, and maybe you'll even pull out that number 1 spot for the Metroplex division. We'll see.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, guys, keep flooding the chat with questions, and we can go ahead and answer them whenever we get going here.
All right, let's see. We'll start it up in about 3 minutes, and then get some topics going. Currently have 8-9 viewers, so that's pretty good.
Currently live on Texas House Fishing. I'm going to put it in the chat, guys, if you want to head over there.
Oh, that's mighty unfortunate. I left my Corrado out in the car. I'm just looking through all my rods right now, and I don't see it in the car. That's unfortunate.
Well, at least it's not at the bottom of a lake.
Yeah, that is very true. I could have very well lost it a few weeks ago.
Texas House Fishing on YouTube.
Oh, I cannot believe
we're live right now. We're gonna get it going here in a second.
Guys who are just now joining the Instagram stream, head over to
Corrado
Texas Fishing House right there.
You did hear Corrado in the water, but luckily it is not in the water.
Yeah, thank goodness. Like literally, we'll talk about it once we get the podcast going. So I mean, it's like a story I've already told, but it's just a timeless story.
Gotcha.
Could have been a lot worse than it was.
Yeah. Unfortunately for me, my thing did go in the water, so we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. Oh, that's good. But got one question from Bassfish TX Bennett McBride, our last podcast guest. We'll definitely get to all these questions coming in.
For sure.
The hats, we're looking to get the hats in very soon. Currently on back order right now with Richardson, so we're trying.
Oh yeah, some merch. You got some merch coming?
Yeah, they're talking about the hat I'm wearing.
Oh yeah.
My hats are currently on the way, so we'll see what happens
We'll definitely
when
give
they'll
you
get here.
plenty of time to
Oh
shout
Lord,
out all your merch and all that.
look at the chat. Oh my gosh,
Golly.
freaking dirt on the door over here.
That one guy's back. He's back to just rip into you, James.
Yeah.
I don't know what's up with this guy.
What? I don't even know how. All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and end off the
Thank you.
stream
Yep.
and post a story. And
All right, guys, we're getting ready to get live here and answer all your questions. So go check us out. James Miller and Samuel Clymer. We're out here with Texas House Fishing on the podcast.
All right. So
all right. And add the story. All right.
all right,
You're
guys.
good. I got the.
So I'll do the intro here in about a minute, and then
We can get going.
get her going. All right, we'll start it up in 3, 2. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Texas Fishing House. Hopefully, you guys are having a great day, morning, afternoon, night, whatever time you're watching this. We are currently live here with Ashton Burton, Ash10Fishing on Instagram. Thanks for coming in, man. I'm here with my co-host, James Miller. He just changed his name on Instagram to Fishing with James. You can find him there. I guess it's double underscore, right? Not just one underscore.
Yeah, double underscore.
All right, for sure. But Ashton, thanks for coming in. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm 17. I'm high school fisherman for THSBA, sitting in third place for Angler of the Year on the Metroplex division. And we have a tournament coming up Saturday on Ray Hubbard.
Ray
So we're
Hubbard.
excited to get after it.
So, of course, I mean, if you're living in Texas, I'm sure you've heard on the news, even if you don't live in Texas, we just had a crazy winter storm come through. How is your power situation, Ashton? And then we'll get to James, but how is your power situation? Do you have internet connection? I mean, obviously have it now, but how are those, like, 5 days-ish? How is that for you and your family?
Yeah, so we obviously have it now, but I mean, the past that entire week, we had probably power on and off for about an hour. We'd have it on, and then it'd shoot off for another hour. So, I mean, the second that power came on, you were for the next hour trying to figure out what you were going to do and what you were going to use that power for before it shut off again. But it was interesting to see that much happen just in Texas.
Yeah. James, what about you?
The power situation here was actually pretty good. Like, I don't think we lost power. We might have lost it maybe once up here. Surprisingly, like with all the snow up here, it was just as bad up here, but I guess we got really lucky with that. The roads were really bad though. I got out and had the chance to experience those once, but the power was okay up here.
Yeah. Luckily for my family, I don't believe we ran out of power the entire time, but internet was just a pain in the butt. And one of the things for me was, like, I couldn't do like any homework whatsoever, which is totally fine by me because everything got pushed back. But
Yeah.
Ashton, you're a high school student fishing THSBA. What was it like? Obviously, since COVID happened, schools have been moving online, or kind of both and. You can go in class and online. So how is that for you, just in the midst of this?
It's been stressful, but they're somewhat flexible because I mean, if you can't make it, I mean, you just throw yourself online for a little bit, and just kind of do what you have to do just to get through these times. But really, they've actually helped quite a bit because I mean, you have the option to go virtual, and with technology like this, you're able to get through those times pretty easily.
Yeah, it's amazing what how technology is just evolving just in the school system in general with all the stuff that's going on. But so you said you had Ray Hubbard coming up. I don't know if we can talk exactly what you're gonna do because I mean you probably want to keep it a little bit of a secret what you're planning to do. But what are some of your just go-to lures in the I guess early pre-spawn stages that we're kind of backed into now? I guess it's almost winter pattern. What would you say we're fishing in right now? What phase of fishing are we in?
I mean, we technically can't even name it anymore because I mean, water temperatures will go from frozen to back up into the 40s, 50 degrees. So right now, Hubbard's at 39, 40 degrees. So I don't know. We're coming at it kind of blind, but I'm thinking I'm definitely gonna. I think I got one tied. No, I don't have one tied on right now, but I think I'll definitely hit a chatterbait off the start just to see what they'll do with that.
James, you got any opinions on chatterbaits? What do you think? What's your go-to, James?
Man, right now with all of this ice thawing and the water temps being just absurdly low, especially for here in Texas, I don't know. I feel like I would probably be throwing a jig. I
Yep.
don't know. I mean, I'd give it another week or so, and it'll definitely be back to somewhat normal. I know it's supposed to be up in the 60s and possibly 70s as we go throughout the week here, but I don't know. I think I'm gonna save the chatterbait for later this week. But right now, I'm probably gonna be throwing a jig, maybe a jerk bait. Just
Yep.
I'm gonna be slowing it down a lot.
For sure. Ashton, I saw you were reaching for something there. Did you grab a bait or something?
So I actually did, which these are my go-tos, like because I mean, obviously y'all know you can fish a chatterbait slow.
Yeah.
So this color right here, I will throw all day. A jackhammer, green pumpkin. I mean, because even in these slow bites, you can just crawl this through anything,
Yep.
and I mean, you'll get those slow bites.
For
But
sure.
then I heard James said jig, and I got a one cast fishing black and blue jig right here that I actually have it tied on one of my setups right now.
What chatterbait is that? Is that a thunder cricket? It looks like.
This is a
Oh,
jackhammer,
sorry. Yeah, you said jackhammer. Sorry. And that is just green pumpkin.
green pumpkin,
That's,
3/8 ounce. And then right here is what I've got tied on a black and blue jig,
yep.
paired up with an X Zone Okeechobee crawl.
That looks fire.
And this will definitely be thrown for a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
When that when when those fish are sitting there cold as can be, I'm gonna definitely have to pick up the jig and see what they can do.
So, in terms of trailers right now, what's your go-to trailer for your chatterbait? Because I mean, you can literally put anything on the back of a chatterbait, and it's still gonna, I mean, produce just insane action. What's your go-to right now in this cold weather?
So currently, right now, my go-tos are Reaction Innovations.
Yeah,
They have some great trailers that can give you some kick, and then also to go with that, their X Zone swimmers. I'll throw those all day too.
gotcha. Now I haven't tried out
So,
X Zone
and then even
swimmers.
with
Have you tried out X Zone stuff, James?
Yeah, I actually got some X Zone swammers in one of my mystery tackle boxes a few months ago, and I haven't really got the chance to throw them all that much, but for the short time that I've used them, they worked very, very well.
Gotcha. I definitely need to expand some of my tackle selection. I mean, I've got a bunch of tackle, but I mean, I've kind of over the years minimized it down to certain brands, certain things I like in each brand. But I had X Zone actually reached out to me a little bit ago, and they were like, "Hey, go try this stuff out." I was like, "Yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll look at it."
no, yeah, even with the X Zone swimmers, I mean, like I'll even bump it down to their 3.5
Yep.
and throw it on an underspin, and I mean, the action of their paddle tail is pretty significant, even for just how small it can be.
Now, an underspin is definitely one of those what I feel like slept on lures. Not a lot of people want to like throw an underspin. It's usually chatterbait, maybe a spinner bait, just straight swim bait. An underspin can be super deadly in the wintertime, and it definitely probably
Oh yeah.
just that finesse. It's basically just a small paddle tail swim bait with a blade. It's just got just right amount of flash, I think, for some of those really what's the word? Just the fish that don't want to bite.
Just really finicky.
Yeah,
Especially that
finicky.
pre-ton or that pre-spawn.
Yeah, for sure. So I know you mentioned 3/8 ounce jackhammer. So is there a reason why you're not throwing a half over a 3/8 or a 3/8 over a half? What you're thinking on that?
So so for me, I like the 3/8 better because it kind of gives you more of a slower fall
Gotcha.
on the 3/8 rather than that half ounce is coming in hard and it's just gonna get to the bottom as fast as it can. But the 3/8, it gives you a fast dive,
Yep.
but at the same time, it's still kind of it gives more of a finesse type wobble
Yeah, for sure.
for
I
me,
definitely agree with
and
that.
doesn't it stays in that area of water a lot better for me.
Yeah, when you're slow rolling it, it's not diving down or it's not going to rise up too
Yes,
fast either.
it's a lot easier to keep in the water column better
Gotcha.
for me.
Let's see here. I know we did get a question here. Bassfish TX asked, "What is your favorite lure?" I don't know about. I guess what's your favorite lure in general?
My favorite lure in general, so I'm gonna give you two. If I'm going fast and all around, is a chatterbait
Yep.
because I can throw it fast, I can throw it slow, it'll do whatever I want. But also, I like to throw a shaky head. This
Uh-oh.
right here, I'll throw a shaky head all day long
Yes, sir.
because you can bounce this across the bottom and feel every fish that's in the lake.
Yeah. No
So
kidding.
I will pull out the shaky head if all else fails and nothing's working. This will come out and be thrown all day.
All right, let's compare it to yours, James. What do you got for your two? Just go to
Well,
fast lure and
I'll
slow
tell
lure.
you, man, you hit the nail on the head right there. I don't think I can differ from you at all. Chatterbait number one for me all day long. I can fish it fast. I can fish it slow. I can drag it, yo-yo it, hop it. You name it, I can do it. And I don't know, for a slow bait, I'm thinking I'm gonna throw either a jig or a shaky head. One of those two.
Yep.
They're both just really, really good baits, especially down here in Texas.
Yeah, for sure. I think mine would either be chatterbait, spinnerbait. I know we went over this in the last podcast. I think I would tend to go with the spinnerbait a little more in most situations, but it also depends. I mean, in every fisherman will tell you like everything depends on the weather, the time of year, temperature. I think most of the time I'd probably go with the spinnerbait, but for a slow bait, I think shaky head's probably going to be my go-to. I mean, shaky head was probably I didn't know it at the time, but the shaky head was probably the first like rig I actually did. I mean, of course I did a Texas rig, but other than that, I think the shaky head's just been consistent for me like throughout my entire time in fishing. Um, so how how about this? So tell us a little bit of how you got into fishing, Ashton. Just maybe were you a kid when you got into it, or did you just recently run into it?
So I've always loved to fish, but um, so as a freshman in high school, I had been decent at sports, not great. And actually, my freshman year, I broke my collarbone playing football, and so I had downtime and been like, "What do I do?" And
Right.
so that's when I started designing and getting on Instagram and started uh, figuring out how I could get my fishing out there more and just kind of see what I could take into fishing more. And so I really started throwing myself into it during that time and being able to video myself catching fish. I was like, this is something I want to do more. So then that's when I started figuring out the high school part of fishing and getting into the tournament circuit. And the coolest thing I think about the tournament circuit is the fact that like stuff like this, the shaky head, like I would have never thrown a shaky head in a pond.
Yeah.
Like it's just something you don't think to do until you get into a tournament and you have a few hours left of a tournament, but you still need three more fish. So you
Right.
have to expand. But
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, for me, it was moving into high school and kind of seeing how I could present myself
Yeah, that's a
in
great way to get
something that
started.
I love to do. So
Yeah, one of my good buddies, Colin Reyes, actually, he was quarterback for Saginaw or something, and he broke his leg, I believe, or maybe shoulder. He broke something in a football game, and he actually got into fishing. His dad fished, and he just wasn't quite into it. But when something happened, he basically just all into fishing. Let's do it. I mean, he's a great tournament angler now, and hopefully be seeing some more out of him in this next coming year. But James, how did you get started? I know you've been fishing for quite a while. You're pretty experienced.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been fishing since like off and on since I was 4. You know, I've always loved fishing, but I didn't really get into it until like late 8th grade into early freshman year. And I started watching more fishing videos on YouTube, and I fed off of both fishing and YouTube. Like, okay, wait, I can get a camera and record all of these experiences and, go back and watch them later, see what bait was working this time of year at this pond, or, what I caught that fish on, where I caught that fish. And that's initially why I started doing YouTube and getting more into fishing. And then I realized, hey, I might have a shot in the dark at possibly doing this full time one day if I really put my mind to it.
Yeah.
And so I started fishing more and more to the point where I was going every single day just to make content. And then, I just started doing it more and more from there. We're here today.
Yeah, for sure. That's a great way to go. Um, I guess you said you were just fishing every day. Ashton, how is your I guess you've got your channel. Go ahead and shout out your channel real quick on YouTube and Instagram and all that.
So my brand slash who I am is Ash10Fishing, and kind of looking at Instagram, like I have content for days, but my hardest part has been editing. So I recently got a computer and I've been editing nonstop. So I have one video posted from a tournament on the YouTube right now, but I mean, for Instagram, for me, it's just Instagram is daily. What can I post that someone sees it and learns something from it almost, or they see it and they're like, "Whoa, that's cool. I want to be able to do that."
Yeah.
So for me, I'm gonna I'm gonna keep trying to edit and figure out what I can do on YouTube along with that to kind of help people and help young anglers figure out what they need to do to up their game a little bit.
Yeah, that's a great I guess mission statement. But so how is school going with your fishing? Because I know you're just a great content creator, great fisherman. Of course, sitting in third for your THSBA again, fighting for that number 1 spot. Definitely going to make it to regionals, I'm sure, and hopefully state. We've got you've got regionals at Louisville, I believe, and state's going to be at Texoma. How are you feeling about that regional tournament at Louisville? I know you had a pretty decent finish last time for that for the qualifying events.
It's pretty. It's going to be a tough tournament, I feel like, but I mean Louisville, it can surprise you sometimes. It can give you a few fish, or you can come out and just slay them on Louisville. But it's an interesting lake because of, I mean, there's not much in Louisville, so you come up on a school of fish, you could have a pretty good run at the tournament. But I think it's going to take a good bag. But I'm interested to see how it goes, and I'm gonna give it all I got to get another chance at state.
Yeah. So what year are you in school? You said you're 17, so is that sophomore or junior?
I'm a junior
That's
currently.
right. Okay, so you've got this year and one more year of high school fishing. Um, so of course your goal is going to be, of course, number 1 should always be a goal. Um, but so you've got Ray Hubbard and what's your next one? Levon. I think those are your last 2 tournaments.
Yes, those are the last 2 tournaments we have coming up to regionals.
Gotcha. Have you calculated what it's going to take for you to overtake the first place person right now for tournament finishes?
I have not, and the reason for that is because I don't necessarily look at it to try to take number 1 at the regionals. Or at Angler of the Year. But for me, it's just looking at each tournament as to how can I make this tournament better than my last tournament,
Gotcha.
or how can I kind of change what I did last time to have a better outcome this time.
Gotcha.
And honestly, I'm a pretty competitive person, so of course I want to win. And I'm just gonna more than anything for me, it's consistency, because a lot of these teams out here in high school, you'll see them, they'll win a tournament, but then the next tournament they're placing 100.
Yeah.
So for me, it's consistency and trying to get as many fish in the boat, get those numbers, get those monsters, and just try to catch the big ones and be up there on the leaderboard and place every time.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's awesome. That's amazing. I definitely was looking, so I did some stuff for Jake, and I was looking. I was talking with him, like 2 weeks ago or something, and I was like, before they changed the lake to Ray Hubbard, I was like, dude, Eagle Mountain is probably the best place for you where they could have put this tournament. It sets up really similar to Texoma for him, and I was like, dude, this is where you can make your move to first place because like he is good about. He's got that live scope. He's good about
Oh
pinpointing
yeah.
specific cover, flipping to it and catching those fish. And I that's what he does really well. And Eagle Mountain would have set up like perfect for him. I don't know. I think Ray Hubbard kind of leveled the playing field for a lot of people, especially with people without like live scope. And I think we talked about James and I talked about this a little bit on just some of our Instagram podcasts and stuff like that. But just what do you think about the what? Well, let's do this. What are you running? Do you have a boat or does your partner have a boat?
I have a boat.
Gotcha. So what graphs and stuff are you running on there? Do you have live scope, side
So I
scan?
actually don't have live scope or any Panoptics. I just have a Helix. I think it's a Helix 7 is what I have on the front. And then I have a Hummingbird, just a big Hummingbird on the back towards the steering wheel. But I'm looking to get Panoptics and currently gonna probably go towards that whenever I up the trolling motor. But right now I'm not running any Panoptics, which can be a little bit of a disadvantage. But I mean,
Yeah,
if you know where the fish are, you don't necessarily have to find them.
exactly.
But Panoptics is a big jump into the industry for sure.
Yeah. James, what's your take on this? What do you think um in terms of just fishing in general? How much of a difference would you say live scope makes in the tournament situation?
Well, I haven't got to fish with a live scope very much at all, but from the people that I've talked to, it's a game changer. I mean, and as I'm sure you know, I'm in a ton of Facebook fishing groups, and almost every other post, especially, I mean, straying away from bass fishing, crappie fishing,
Hmm.
live scope is just a pivotal
Yeah.
piece of technology, especially over there. But I'm sure it is in bass fishing too.
Someone just commented, when is your Ray Hubbard tournament? I believe next week.
Should be the 27th, I think.
Yeah, so next week or next Saturday, this
Next
Saturday.
Saturday. Yeah.
So that should be fun. I think I should be gone. Hopefully, not run into any ice. No boats are gonna sink this tournament. Hopefully, um, but
We should be good. Hopefully the water calms down a little bit, warms up a little bit, and it should be a great day on the water, hopefully.
gotcha.
Although
Yeah,
it
it
is
should
supposed
warm
to
up a
rain. As
lot.
of right now, it's supposed to rain. It's supposed to be warm, but it's showing rain right now. So hopefully that backs off a little bit.
Well, we could honestly use the rain here in Texas. So a lot of our reservoirs are, I don't know, 8 to 10% low. I know Eagle Mountain's at
Mm-hmm.
90% pool. Louisville is pretty close to that. Um, what would you expect to see with rising water? Would that change up your game plan any?
Honestly, it will. If the waters start to rise a little bit, I'm gonna find those fish that are looking a little bit shallower. Because I mean, when those waters start coming up, they're gonna look for a little bit more of that cover that's finally covered by
Yep,
water. So I mean, some of the shallow game might open up a little bit, whereas people are over there hitting the 20 foot of water.
gotcha.
So that's where
So I'm looking at so when is the next full moon? I guess the next full moon is actually the date of your tournament.
I was about to say it should be pretty close to around
Yeah,
there.
so February 27th, the day of your tournament is the next full moon, and it's just gonna get bigger this next week. James, how what factors would you say the full moon poses in fishing? I know it's a big thing. A lot of people talk about the full moon and how it's very key in fishing. What would you say right now, especially? What would you expect or look for if there's a full moon?
Well, I was just about to ask you the same question with the full moon as the spawn approaches, because I mean, as we get closer and closer to March, these fish are going to start pulling up
Hmm.
shallow, and that's going to open up bed fishing. But I don't know. I mean, I wonder if that full moon's going to push them forward some
Right.
with the water temps coming up. As it warms up and as this full moon gets here, I wonder if that's going to bring some fish up shallow enough to start bedding early.
Yeah, so last full moon was like January something, and I was actually out at
Yeah.
Eagle Mountain, and I was flipping, and I caught a 7.5, some fours, a couple other really good fish that I think literally moved up the night before. Um, I did see one. I did catch. No, I didn't catch it. I did see one on a bed at Granbury last full moon. So I know the water's in, right at 40-ish, which isn't definitely not the water you want to have during spawn. They're not gonna spawn in 40-degree water. But I think that
Mm-mm.
full moon is definitely gonna drive them into the, you know, 5 to 10 foot category. A majority of them will move up into that 5 to 10 category foot of water.
Yep.
But I wouldn't say the full moon this time around is gonna just push them up on beds. I think that water does need to warm up a little, but it for the whole for the whole full moon deal, you're gonna have some push up. I know there was a lot of bait. Well, not a lot, but a lot of the shad was dying off just because that sudden freeze in water. So I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how much of a factor that'll play. Maybe you focus more on craw patterns, bluegill patterns. I don't know. What would you say, Ashton? When you're fishing Ray Hubbard, are you going to be focusing more of like a bluegill, shad, crawfish?
Well, and that's what I was going to say. With that shad dying off, though, it almost makes me wonder if I throw it off the start just to see, because they could be targeting those dead or dying shad from this water drop. But at the same, they could see the craws coming out a little bit more just for the fact that the shad are dying and not moving. So
Right.
definitely going to play with it a lot and see what they're targeting. But two, I think the bite is definitely going to pick up a little bit for the fact that it's getting warmer and the lake's not froze over.
Well, see,
Yeah.
that opens up a lot of strategy too for everybody that's going to be fishing that. Do you switch over to a craw and hope that they're switching their diet over to craws, or do you fish with a shad bait where they might be trying to pick off those baits, like you said, or pick off the shad, like you said? I think that's going to split everybody right down the middle on which one they lean towards going off the start.
Yeah, I know
It's
for sure.
it's
Yeah, go
definitely
ahead,
going to come
Ashton.
down. It's definitely going to come down to whoever figures it out first, because
Yep.
I think I think that's definitely going to be the case. Is that the person who finds out if they're hitting shad or if they're hitting the crawl pattern is going to be the one that finds the fish a lot easier and gets those hits right away.
I know for me, I know I'd probably start out with a jerk bait or something that mimics shad, but not in a way of them like moving or schooling. Nothing like an A rig. I mean, an A rig, heck, that might just be absolutely fire right now with that colder water just heating up pretty rapidly and fluctuating. That A rig might be really good moving that shad around because those shad are consistently trying to find warmer water. So they're going to be moving a lot. So an A rig, I think let's do like top three baits for just a lake right now. I think an A rig, a jerk bait, and a jig are probably going to be my go tos. You've got that shad, live shad, slow shad, and you've got a craw pattern, which could also imitate bluegill in a lot of cases. James,
Man, right now I can agree with you on the jig, jerk bait as well. I think my third bait that I would go to is maybe, as it warms up, a red lipless crankbait. Ripping it out of grass patches, the fish that are holding to that grass a little bit out deeper. I feel like that would also start to work as it gets warmer as well.
yeah,
So
Ashton,
that'd be my third
don't
I
bait.
don't
was
feel pressured into giving away your game plan. You don't have to.
no,
If you don't want to
no,
talk
no.
about it, you don't have to. But
No, I get you, and I was gonna definitely agree that some kind of crankbait might be a game changer coming this warmer weather, and the fact that we don't necessarily know the pattern. So getting those two patterns out there and searching the water with something a little bit faster might might help.
yeah, so
But jig is definitely going to be something that everyone on Hubbard's going to be throwing that day.
yeah, I can definitely agree with that one there. So I know in a lot of cases, especially your last tournament was at Ray Roberts, right? Yeah, Ray Roberts. So uh, I know in that tournament, the big thing about Ray Roberts and just in the fall time in general is when you're finding the fish, you have to cover a lot of water. Do you think anglers at Hubbard are going to have to cover a lot of water over a great distance, or do you think they should be focusing more on you stick to one cove, pick around that cove, and just stay there, or blast around looking for fish?
With the way this water's been, I'm honestly thinking the person that gets that first bite and figures out what they're hitting needs to stay in that area, because those fish have been schooled like they've definitely been schooled together this last week and a half and been um, in the same area. Now they're going to be moving around a lot, but I think the person that finds that first bite uh, needs to match where they caught that fish, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got you.
So kind of that area and that cover is where they need to target for the rest of the day, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I think you catch one fish, you better stay there. Because I mean, like you said, they're going to be nice and schooled up. Cold water is going to shock them in together. James, I know you do a lot of pond fishing. Um, and I mean, I wouldn't say you don't have a lot of lake experience, but I know that you've been fishing a lot of ponds. You do a lot of that. How do you think this weather will affect the ponds, especially since they can warm up and cool down a lot faster than lakes can?
Well, I was thinking about that last night because I'm probably gonna go fishing tomorrow at the pond that I fish a lot. The pond that I fish a lot, it's a pretty big pond, but it had solid ice all the way over it, like 2.5 inches all the way across. And so as that melts, even that water is absolutely freezing. But as you mentioned, they also heat up a ton quicker than lakes do. So if we get a few days here of 55, 60 degrees, that water is going to go down from maybe even, I don't know if it's down in the 30s, like high 30s or not, but definitely 40s. It's going to go from there up to possibly low to mid 50s in just a few days. And so moving baits are going to be all I'm going to be throwing out there. I mean, I might have a jig on me, but I'm going to be covering a ton of water with a chatterbait, going all the way around it, finding the offshore grass, and picking those fish off the chatterbait.
Yeah, so you're going to be doing that run around, catch one, and you're gonna stick to that. Try to run that
Yeah.
pattern. I mean, I think if you can, I don't know if there's a lot of grass on Ray Hubbard. I've only been out there once or twice. I know it sets up. There's a lot of seawalls. Seawalls play a big role at Ray Hubbard. I know a lot of my buddies, um, who fish more East Texas stuff. In those divisions, they come to Ray Hubbard for a lot of their tournaments. Like Louisville is to us as Ray Hubbard is to them. I know seawalls play a big deal. You can find some really good docks and good stretches of docks. Um, I'm not sure about any grass. Do you know anything about the grass bite at Hubbard?
I actually don't. Now, this is the funny part. I've never fished Hubbard.
Okay.
So this this tournament is going to be very blind, and it's going to be something where I stick to what I know and throw what I'm confident in. So I don't know if they have grass. And actually, my last tournament was Sam Rayburn. I fished out of division
That's
for
right.
it. And so that was very cool because I've never been one to fish deep grass like that. And so on Rayburn, that deep grass is something that everyone looks forward to fishing. And so, I mean, if they have grass, I'm definitely gonna pull something through it. But like, um, I'm gonna throw what I know and try to find cover that I've seen in other lakes before.
Yeah, that is always probably one of the best game plans to go to. I mean, I couldn't say it better myself. When I fish out of state, especially in different places, I feel comfortable, really comfortable flipping reeds. And when I was in Arkansas, um, on Lake Dardanelle, there's like 3 or 4 reed patches in the entire lake. I mean, you run up and down the lake, you don't see any reeds except for 3, 4 different patches on this massive. It's basically a river system, massive river system. And I mean, we pulled out in practice easily what would have won the tournament in the reeds. They just weren't sticking there. But hey, pre-fish was fun. We were flipping 3 or 4 pounders in the boat. But again, I know as a Texas angler, especially in this Metroplex area, chunk rock is like, how comfortable do you feel with chunk rock? Because I love fishing riprap and chunk rock and all that.
Oh, for sure. If I can find that, I will target that all day and throw every single thing I have in my tackle box at that.
Yeah. I mean, you find a lot of that at Louisville, Grapevine, even Ray Roberts. You can definitely go in
You can find, yes.
basically anywhere where we're at right here. But like you said, you fished that tournament at Sam Rayburn. Give us some insight into what you're doing there. You talked about that deep grass where you ripping traps out, where you chatterbaiting.
So actually, this that chatterbait I showed you, that is one of my go-tos. I threw this all day on Rayburn, and I mean, this is as fast as it was moving through the water the entire day. So I was just slow rolling it through, and the second it'd get caught on grass, I would just slowly pull it out. And I mean, then when I'd let it sink for a second is when they'd begin to hammer it. But I actually got some good luck on an A-rig too. We were throwing A-rigs during the day and pulling that through grass, which if you've ever thrown an A-rig, that it's not the easiest thing to do, but it worked, and we got it done on that. And then I went to the shaky head too at the end of the day, got it done on a shaky head, and then I went back to the chatterbait. So that's another thing. If you ever are throwing a bait and it doesn't work, don't give up on it. Switch, but then come back to it.
Yeah. So James, what would you say? What tips would you give for people trying to learn a new lure? I know I kind of dropped you in on that Ned rig thing at when we were fishing.
Yep.
What would you say that like your biggest tips for learning a new lure, a new style of fishing?
So for me, I did this whenever I learned how to fish a jig. I did not get into jig fishing until late 2019. I had never caught a fish on a jig before then, and I just didn't like them. I didn't know where to fish them. I didn't know how to fish them. And so eventually I just got to the point where I'm like, okay, I know this bait catches big fish. I know that if I can learn this bait, I'll catch a lot more fish. So I just, on a day where I would throw a chatterbait or typically throw a chatterbait, I said, nope, not doing it. I'm throwing a jig. And
Yep.
I just committed to throwing that bait that I didn't know how to do or how to use until I started catching fish. And once I started catching fish, I'm like, okay, where did I catch that fish? How did I catch it? I started putting those tips in my back pocket so that going forward, as I fished that bait more, I had more confidence in it than I had initially. And as you mentioned with the Ned rig, I have never used those either. It's not a confidence bait for me. But you put me on those, and I've started fishing them more and catching more fish with them. So
Yeah.
I would say if you're trying to learn a new bait, just commit to it and try to learn as much as you can as you fish it, so that you can catch more fish as you keep going over time.
Yeah, Ashton, can you build on that any? Or I mean, James summed it up pretty well.
Yeah, no, he hit it. He hit it pretty hard. I definitely think you need to take it slow. I mean, that one bait you want to learn right away, I feel like you have to have that tied on no matter what.
Hmm.
And it, and I almost feel like I'm not going to stick to that bait exactly, but I would go to that bait over and over. And then if you're not feeling as confident, throw something for a second and then be like, wait, how can I throw that bait kind of like how I just threw this one?
Yeah, for sure.
And so,
Yep.
but like even I ran into that pretty hard too, because like the shaky head, I didn't know how to throw the shaky head until the beginning of this year or the beginning of last year. And so tying on the shaky head, I would just tie it on, throw it like I would a Texas rig, and then kind of feel the weight of the shaky head and move it around and kind of play with it and see what what I did triggered that bite.
Yeah, and one big thing that I noticed because I'm really recent to fishing. Um, I graduated 2018, and I literally started fishing in 2016. So basically, as a sophomore in high school till now is my whole fishing career. I never caught a bass up until then. You know, I'd basically love to go fishing whenever I could, when I was smaller, and I mean I caught a few bluegill here and there, but just definitely not at the level that we're all at now, where it's like see a pond, you can catch a fish out of it, catch a bass out of it in like 5 minutes. But one big thing that I noticed is like both of you said, it takes time. You got to commit yourself to learning these techniques, and
Yep.
one big thing is like fishing just takes time and just so much energy to put into it to learn different techniques. I know last year for me, fishing a spinner bait, flipping stuff, like it just takes so much time. You got to commit to it. I know one of the coolest things for me was fishing reeds. Like, I mean, I flipped reeds before, but not like this, not at the level of you have to point out your spot you want to flip to, like 3 casts before, look at it. You're flipping something else. Focus on all the reeds, see if any of them shake, because that like if you fished reeds before, you know that those fish will like bushwhack them, and they'll tell you they're there. You flip to them and you catch them. But it's just crazy how how much time and energy goes into fishing. And I mean, being in school, I know we're all in school. James and I are in college. You're in high school. I know it can definitely get in the way sometimes. I love fishing so much it'll take over some of the study time that I should be studying. I think we can all agree to that as
Yeah.
fishermen. But yeah, it's just crazy how much time and energy it'll take to just master a skill. And of course, you always have to think about it this way. There's no way I see myself as the best at throwing anything. There's pros that can do it better than me. I'm sure some local old man down the road can do it better than me. And you're constantly working on these techniques to get better. Um, someone asked me what high school team I was on. I went to Flower Mound High School, not Flower Mound Marcus, Flower Mound High School, and I was on their fishing team. Currently, I captain for some high school kids that I know. So I've got my Flower Mound jerseys behind me, got my OG one, and then the new captain one here. Ashton, what high school fishing team are you on right now?
I fish for Argyle High School currently, and I started as a sophomore. So, like you, this is my second year in tournament fishing.
Gotcha. James, are you gonna be fishing the tour this year?
I might hit a few tournaments here and there. I don't know. I never really got into tournament fishing like you guys have. Last year was my first big year into actually fishing tournaments, like really at all. I hit, I think, four online tournaments last year, and I did pretty well in them. I think I got second, third, first in the four that I did,
I mean,
and
that's
so
consistent right there. That's
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I have a lot more to learn about tournament fishing as opposed to just going out, hitting a pond, hitting a lake, just on a normal day. But I feel like this year is going to be a good year for me to learn a lot more about tournament fishing. I don't know. I think I'm gonna hit a lot more as it warms up.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely need to go lake fishing. If you come down to Dallas again, I've got a buddy. He's fully online. We're gonna actually go fish Arlington tomorrow. So if you're ever in the area, let me know. He's probably available. We can go take his boat out. Um, Ashton, um, shoot, what you got? Anything else to say? I mean, we're almost. I think we've got maybe 20 minutes left in the hour, but I mean, whenever we want to call it, we can. But you got any other topics you want to shout anything out? You got some sponsor companies maybe?
Um, right now, I'm just with X Zone and OneCast. OneCast is the company I go with jigs. Now, the only thing is he does not have finesse jigs right now, which is the hardest thing because I love to throw finesse jigs.
Oh man.
But they have some great jigs. And then the thing I love the most about the two companies is the fact that I can pair them together. So like this is a one cast swim jig, and then I have an X Zone swimmer on the back of it.
Oh yeah, that looks fire right there. That that looks like you can rip it through some grass, flutter it by a
Oh,
dog.
that's a good color
Exactly.
right there. Is that purple and green pumpkin that's here right there?
Yeah,
A
that's a
little bit blurry.
PB&J.
Okay, this color right here has been just absolutely slaying him recently. This chatterbait right here it's got 45 fish on it so far, and
Oh man.
it's not slowing down either.
So I've got probably my favorite chatterbait color. This is called the Green Chat, I believe, by Z Man. It is it's basically a bee height delight and a spot remover. So if you know anything about jackhammers, the bee height delight is this guy right here. He's a little darker, and spot remover is translucent. Actually, I don't know if I can find one in this box.
I was gonna say I think I have that one right here.
Yes, that looks like spot remover there. Yep. So you match that bee height delight right here, and you mix it with spot remover, green shad. That is probably my go-to, like period. Throw it in clean water, throw it in dirty water. It's got just a little bit of chartreuse, little translucent for that clear water. I think that's probably my go-to just for a shad imitation. And I definitely spend
And what weight are you gonna throw?
half. I have to throw half.
Half ounce.
I feel like I speed up too much for 3/8. Unlike you, I know 3/8 has its merits a lot of the time, but I feel like I always speed up way too much with that 3/8, and it just rises on me. I know we can do things with the trailer, put like a quad trailer on it, slow it down, make it flatline a little bit, but half is generally what I go with because I can put my rod tip up and then keep it in the water column that I want it, lower it, put it down.
Yep, I agree
But
with you. That's what I usually throw as well.
yeah, I literally have box full of jackhammers, and I mean I have them literally every color in 3/8 and half. I have a couple 3/4. Like at Rayburn, I'll throw a 3/4 ounce jackhammer in that deep grass. You can find grass in about 8 to 10 foot. That's what I'm going to be throwing down there, just because I feel like that 3/8 won't settle down in that depth range enough.
Yeah, and this is actually a whole different topic. I wanted to hit on this before
Yeah, throw it out
we
there.
closed off the podcast. Have you guys heard about the absolute mega bag that Milliken and his buddy got the other day at OHIV?
Yes, the 16-pounder.
Well, there's a 16-pounder, and then supposedly they had a 60-plus pound bag.
Really? Okay, I did not hear that. No.
Yeah.
I heard 3 fish over 12 and 5 over 10.
Wow. No, I
I
didn't
don't
hear
know
the
if that
rest of the
includes the
story.
16 or not. Well, that's all there is right now. I've seen an article on Wired to Fish, but they didn't really hit on anything. There hasn't been a video yet. I haven't seen any
Wow.
posts about it, but no, I didn't know if y'all knew anything else about it, so I wanted to throw it out there.
No,
That is crazy. No, I didn't even know about that personally.
no, okay. No,
Yeah.
that's crazy because I literally did not hear anything of that other than that 16-pounder. And I think that's another thing. I think that a lot of people just focus on one fish. Okay, so Jake said he had two 12-pounders and a 16 and a half
Wow.
almost. That is absolutely insane. I've definitely never had a day that good. But I feel like a lot of people only focus on one fish. Like, I definitely didn't hear anything about those other two 12s. I mean, those are two more share lunkers. So this guy got
Exactly.
three
I mean,
share lunkers in a day.
I think if I had a day like that, I don't know if I would ever even think about beating it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's a day that it's like a once in a lifetime day where you have, that many quality fish like that in one day on one lake like that. That's just absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do. I'd probably try to beat it, but, I probably, not going to beat it.
Yeah, just let it set in that that's the ceiling right there.
Yeah, that reminds me of the guy who caught, what was it? 50, almost 50, 49 something at Rayburn. Absolutely insane day.
Yes.
I was
Yeah.
fishing a college tournament the day after that. We had high hopes going in, but of course, when we have a college tournament, there's always a front that blows through, either bluebird skies or it's pouring down buckets. Like I don't know if you've
Yep.
noticed that. When you have a tournament, just the powers that be just like, no, we're gonna give you the worst day to fish ever. I don't know. Do you guys have any say on that? If you've noticed that.
I'm not
Nah,
gonna say anything because I don't want anything to change for me
Yeah.
personally.
you don't
But
want to jinx it.
I tend to love come tournament day. There's not. I seem to be able to find the positive out of it, but our tournaments have. I'm just gonna stop there. So that I don't ruin Saturday for me.
Yeah. So
But
yeah, fishing. I mean, or captaining those tournaments. That you're fishing is it's crazy. I'm like, oh, dude. So okay, I'll tell you this. At Louisville, for the qualifying tournament, literally we caught, or the kids caught so many fish that day within the first 2 hours. Only the first 2 hours, but two of them kept in those 2 hours, and the one of the kids looked at me. He's like, "Dude, we're gonna freaking whack them today." I was like, "Watch out, buddy! It's the first 2 hours of the day. We got bluebird skies coming. Yeah, it might get rough, but keep your hopes high." Literally, those two keepers stayed in the well without a third fish until the last, I don't know, hour and a half of that day.
Oh
So
wow.
literally 6 hours of fishing without any catching anything else. It was just one of those, like, this looks good. Now we're gonna grind.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, I've
That's how
had
it was
plenty of
for
days like that.
Us two on Rayburn. That's how we were. Like we had caught 2 fish that didn't keep all day on Rayburn.
Yeah.
And we had gone probably 3 hours without a fish. And then it was the second we hit one fish, we caught probably 3 more right after it.
Mm-hmm. And that was in the fall, so that was October, right? Somewhere around there.
Rayburn, that was like a couple weeks ago.
Sorry, wait, yeah, that's right. So yeah, so that was a couple weeks ago. So yeah, they were definitely going to be grouped up and all that. But we got any more topics? We're almost out of time here.
I think the one thing I have is, what would you say for them is your favorite setup and why for both of you?
Ooh.
Oh man.
So that we get this question a
Yeah,
lot. I
that's
feel like
tough.
I change it a lot as well.
Yeah, same. Because like after,
Like, what is your favorite to throw right
right
now?
now?
Like your favorite rod and reel. What are you picking up?
man,
I'm looking at all my
I'll
combos
go
right
ahead.
now. It's hard.
Me too. I'm looking down. Got well. I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to go with my 7.3 medium, or actually no, it's a 7 foot medium heavy TFO rod with my Corrado DC. I
Yeah.
feel like I've really grown to like that DC reel, and I don't know. I think that's my combo right now. I've been using it a lot for my moving baits.
Yeah, if you know anything about me, anyone in the stream, you know I'm just a tackle junkie, rod junkie, reel junkie. Like boxes and boxes of reels right here. It's so hard because it's hard to settle on one. But I think right
Yeah.
now for the pure, just not nostalgic yet, but just the pure. I mean, I just got this reel. I have my 7'4" medium heavy hex rod, my favorite, paired up with a Scorpion DC, and that's a JDM reel. I just got it. I don't know, like a few weeks ago. Playing around with it. It's got this Shimano DCI 5 as opposed to what's in the Corrados and the SLXs, which is a DCI 4. And I mean, just playing around with it, there's such a big difference between the braking systems, between like the Corrado and the Scorpion. But just purely playing around with that Scorpion 7.4 medium heavy is just, I mean, I can throw anything on it right now. I think I've got 15-pound line. And it's literally, I can throw anything on it. The line's light enough for a crankbait, most crankbaits, and I mean I can throw spinnerbait, chatterbait, jig, you name it, shaky head. I can throw a Ned rig. It's a DC, so I can throw like a little tiny Ned rig around. But that'd probably be my like go-to right now, just for pure playing around. We do have a
Yeah.
comment here.
Gotcha.
Logan Sullivan said, "Would you rather fish a grinder tournament or a tournament where everyone is smashing them?" That's a great question.
That's a great question.
Honestly, for me, I love grinder tournaments. Just kind of the adrenaline rush you get each bite on a grinder tournament, and a tournament that you know is rough for everyone is real nice because you get a fish in the boat and you're going insane.
Yeah.
Yep.
When I can definitely agree with that because I mean, if you catch him on that grinder tournament, you know you grinded it out and you beat that field just raw, just you
Yep.
straight up just beat them. You're just so much better.
You beat the lake, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can agree with that too. In my, like I said, 4 tournaments last year, there's 3 of them were tournaments where everybody was just on them, and I came up just short in all of them. Like I think they were online tournaments, so they went by inches
Yep.
for 5 fish. I had one that was in second by, I think it was 3/4 of an inch, and then I had another one where I was in second by 1.5 inches. And so it's because everybody was catching them. I was up there towards 90 inches for my best 5, but there were people that just had a tiny bit better. And then the one that I ended up winning last year, I was able to build a gap for myself above second place in day 1, and day 2 was just absolutely horrible. I was out there for, I want to say, at least 8 hours, just grinding it out. 39-degree weather, pouring rain, super windy, and I was able to stay ahead of everybody else because everybody else was just struggling so bad. So I don't know. I have to agree with y'all on that. I think grinder tournaments are better because you feel more accomplished when you can pull through on them.
Okay, so
To add on,
go ahead.
to add on, I think the tournaments where everyone is smacking them is the perfect tournament to try to learn something new.
Yes.
Yep.
That tournament where everyone is smacking them and you're catching fish all day is the best time to whip out that technique that you have not gotten down that you want to work on, in my opinion. That's when I would tell you to whip out a jerk bait and try to figure out how to throw a jerk bait and learn the pause of it.
So, before we get into one of the questions for you, Ashton, what is one of those techniques? We'll start with James. James, I guess for everyone, what is one of those techniques that you're just trying to master right now that you're working on?
For me, it's a jerk bait.
Jerk bait.
I've caught one fish on a jerk bait, and a jerk bait's really hard because you have to learn how to let it sit there and not mess with it.
Right.
And to know what you're moving it around. So for me, I'm trying to work on throwing a jerk bait.
Yeah, for me, I feel like it's a combo package. Finesse fishing for me has never been something that I've really liked. Let's say like a drop shot. I'm not really good at that. I've been trying to get better at drop shotting. Ned rigs, and jerk baits as well. I tried throwing a jerk bait the other day, but I like moving bait so much. I can't let it sit there like it needs to be. And so I feel like all three of those are baits that I'm trying to work on, I guess, to improve while I can.
Finesse fishing, in general. Yeah. I think mine would have to be big swim baits. I've always had big swim baits, big glide baits and stuff like that. And I mean, it's not hard to fish them in the lakes that we're around, but it's more challenging than others because we don't have, most of the time, we usually don't have super clear water to throw them in. Generally, you've got to go up north or, go somewhere else where it's clear water. Pond fishing is a different story, but in the lakes throwing big swim baits, I feel like I definitely need to get better at doing that because there's so much potential to catch just mega bags with.
Yep.
So, Ashton, directly to you. Someone asked, how do you get one of those hoodies that you're wearing right there?
Oh, the hoodies. I actually have my own website. It's Ash10Fishing.com, and that's where I make my own clothing and kind of throw it out there for people to kind of experience the love of fishing and kind of join it with me.
For sure. So we're going to go ahead and close out. Ashton, James, thanks for coming on again. Super fun talking to y'all. Hopefully we can do this again once we get through a cycle of people. Or, maybe we'll go back to back. Who knows? We're not exactly sure who's going to be on next. But if you do want to join guest star on this podcast, go to the Texas Fishing House Instagram. There's a link in the bio where you can fill out a Google form. We're going to get all your information down. Definitely get in contact with you. And definitely go subscribe to the channel, guys. Hopefully the times are probably going to be standard 8 o'clock on Sundays. But the dates, we'll get to you whenever we can. But again, Ashton, thank you so much for coming on here. James, thanks for being a great co-host with me. And guys, we will definitely see you next time. Thanks for coming on. All right, so I just stopped the stream.
Awesome. There we go.
All right, that's awesome. So